Hi guys, this is jjlockhART back again this week. This week I'm drawing a Beetlejuice inspired tattoo design that was requested. I started off first, I did a whole bunch of doodles trying to figure out the composition first, and right now I'm just working on my final drawing. I had lots and lots of different little sketches, and I came up with one concept that I really like, and it involves Lydia and then the Beetlejuice snake snaking around or slithering around her head. And so what I did is I did lots of sketches, and then I made my final drawing. And then my drawing, instead of inking it physically, I decided to take it into a digital medium, and I started inking it digitally in Manga Studio. And right here, all you're seeing is just me adding lines, just trying to figure out the final line work for the design. And when I'm usually sketching out, I like to work with the face first. I usually start with my line drawing with the face first, just because sometimes I get kind of tired. My hand gets a little tired, so I prefer to do the line work on the face first, just to avoid my hand getting too tired. And also, that way I can develop what line weight I want to use. And then after I was done with Lydia's face, I hopped over to the Beetlejuice snake face. Again, just further developing the line weight, trying to keep it consistent but still have a little bit of variation to it. And that's the wonderful thing about working in digital. If something doesn't look quite right, I can just erase it and try it a zillion times if I want to. I'm adding the little bugs, little beetles. I'm drawing the rose, and I'm just taking it shape by shape, starting from the center and working my way out. And then working on the other little beetle. And for the hair, I decided to go with very big round shapes, just to mimic the shape of the body of the snake a little bit, and also give it some form, so that when the body of the snake lays on it, it feels a little bit more equal or balanced. And then with the lettering, I didn't show the whole process of the lettering, but essentially what I do is that purple, I use it to sort of create my guidelines, and then I go in and roughly draw in the structure of the letter forms, and then I go on top of that with the black, because that's the color I'm using for my line work, and further cleaning up the shapes of each letter form. And that can take a long time, and that's why I didn't show it here, but you can still see me cleaning up my letter forms, just not the whole process, because it does take a long time. And I go in there and I just adjust every letter form. And I try and get it just neat, and I try and keep each letters consistent, but I do want it to look hand-drawn, because if I didn't, I would just use a font. But I do like that they're not completely straight, and that gives it a more humanist or a more hand-drawn feel to the letter form. And then I'm just going in and blocking out the hair. And I'm using the spray tool in order to create that simple gradation. And I'm also adding it to give each loop of hair some depth and some dimension, and blocking out the skin tone. And I did go with a very light skin tone, just because I did want her to look really sort of sickly, I guess, and so that the purple on her eyes would really pop. And I also added more browns underneath the eye in order to give her the sunken eye, sort of sickly look. And I decided to go with the purple rose. I guess just because I wanted it to be a very dark color. I didn't want to do just black, because otherwise that the rose would call too much attention to the bottom left corner. So I went with a nice purple color, and then I did a lot of the shading just straight black with that spray tool in order to give it some depth, and still make it appear dark but not as black, if that makes sense. And then I went in there with a lighter purple, the same colors from her from the eyelid, so I went with that lighter purple to give the rose some highlights. And for Beetlejuice face, I did a even lighter color than the other than Lydia's skin tone. I went even lighter with him just because I wanted him to look even more green and sickly. So I used greens for his undertones and his shadows. And then I also added that purple around his eyes. And I also went back and added a little bit more black to his face overall, so he looks more grayish overall. And I'm also, at this point, using the black spray tool and just straight black in order to create a little bit more dimension in the curls or the body of the actual snake form. Also for the underside of the snake, I did this black and white stripe pattern just because that's a theme in the movie, and also that was one of the requests when I received this commission. And I'm just adding a little bit more shading to the face, to the Beetlejuice face. And then I'm adding a little bit of highlight to the snake body. And then I'm adding the white part to the letter forms, just to help them pop out a little bit more. And also to tie into the underside of the snake belly. And just adding a little bit more yellow or a little bit of highlight to the face. And now I'm working on the little beetles, adding a little more green to them. And the little leaves. Adding a little highlight. And I like to, with this spray technique, I like to spray, then erase an area, and then spray again, just so that it creates a nice clean line. And for some reason I like how that looks, so I use that technique pretty frequently in this design. And adding some more highlights. And I'm adding a highlight underneath his face in order to make the Beetlejuice face pop up from the head. I want that to stand forward and for Lydia's face to stand back a little bit. And I'm adding a little more highlight to Lydia's face. And adding some eyelashes, a little more detail to the eyes. And a little more shadow to the Beetlejuice face. And the hair, after I was working on everything, just looked a little plain. So I went in there and added some of the purple highlights. And then also added the purple to the rattle snake tip or end. And I like how it looks overall, and I really enjoyed working on this piece, and thank you for watching. Bye.